testing the Impulse 135, which is new from Hoodoo. Longer boat, obviously 13.5 feet, 34 inches wide. Just a good, feels like a really good long distance boat, you know, kind of reminds me a little bit of the ocean kayak prowlers, the Prowler 13. It's kind of the feel of this boat. Got a lot of good storage, adjustable seat, sit on top seat, you know. It's got high, you know, a very low on the deck level seating position, a middle, which is what I'm in right now, which feels pretty high, and then there's a high position, which I think is a little too high for my weight, my size. Just, you know, in the middle position, I already feel it's a little tippy. You know, I wouldn't want to challenge it. But this is the Mirage style drive, or the fin style drive, whatever you want to call it, in comparison to Hobie. Already I can tell you that there's been some advancements made on the drive. So the fine folks at Hoodoo have listened. You know, they beefed up the chains and the cables and stuff. So we've got the updated drive in here. They updated the I guess the brackets to hold the drive in. They're now kind of a click and go style, kind of like Hobie. But I think there's another version of that coming out soon. So so far so good. I'm pedaling right now because the water is extremely low. You know, this is a body of water right here where we're normally in about a foot and a half, and you know, I can tell you right now we're not even in barely 6 inches. So there's a couple of deep drops to actually kind of use the drive. But we've been selling Hoodoo for a while now, and we've been real happy with, for the most part. I mean, there's been some quality issues on some of the components, you know, but definitely things that are sorting through and working out. The good thing is these boats have been really, or procurement or getting these boats has been a really good thing. Hoodoo's done a good job of kind of thinking forward on their ordering and their production of these boats. So I'm real happy about that. So if somebody really needs to get into a boat pretty quick, it's not something where it's a 4 or 5 month wait like we've seen with other manufacturers, especially Hobie. So people wonder, you know, well, why, you know, trying to choose between a pedal drive and a paddle drive, what's better? And if I do a pedal drive, should I do the fin style or the prop style? There's all kinds of questions about that. And that seems to be the biggest dilemma when selecting a pedal drive kayak, whether to go prop or fin. This is an example of why fins, this would be a good reason why you would want fins. Because the water is, like I said, 6 to 8 inches. The drive is still in the boat. I didn't have to take it out. I just have a foot forward so that the fins are tucked underneath the boat. And I'll have to worry about debris getting hung up on a prop, okay? Debris meaning grass and what have you. So if you look down, you can see just how deep we are. Very shallow. And I've got my drive in, I've just got a foot forward. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna take this boat through its paces. We're gonna see if it catches fish, because I haven't been fishing on the water for over a week. Been at ICAST all last week, which we got a video coming out on that. But so far, paddles well. The rudder was somewhat responsive. It's one of those fold down spring loaded rudders. It's a little sluggish, but I also think it's because we just don't have enough water underneath it. So anyways, guys, we're gonna continue to go through here. We're gonna I want to fish, but I'm also going to talk about the boat. Okay, so more to come. I also do a real walkthrough of the boat when we're done with today's trip. So I'm going to focus on the fish right now, and then I'll talk to you guys soon. Well guys, there you have it. This was the Hoodoo Impulse 135, and I gotta tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked the overall feel of the boat. I'm gonna do a complete breakdown of the boat. I was really happy with the way the boat paddled and pedaled in the skinny water on the flutter stroke, okay? So if you guys wanna come on in, we'll kind of talk about some key features of the boat, okay? So right off the bat, guys, you guys can see that the cockpit area, pretty roomy. It doesn't fit the Hobie H crate long ways. It does fit it vertically, so no complaints there. You've got this guy right here, so if you want to put additional tackle and stow it down, I thought that was pretty cool. Rod holders are smartly placed, especially the ones in the front. And as you guys can see or saw as I was standing up and kind of trying to side cast, that rod was perfectly in the right position to where I can just grab it and chunk at it. So smartly placed rod holders. The cockpit area, a little tight. That's one thing that I will say, that From a standing up standpoint, it was a little tough because there's not a lot of room in this well. You know, your feet were pretty much on the edge here, and didn't really get a real good comfortable feel with the feet. So as far as the rudder is concerned, rudder was a little bit sluggish. That's one thing that I will say. It was a little sluggish. And if you come around here and we look at this other side here, the rudder release is right here in this position here. So, so the release of the rudder, you know, if you go and take it out of the clam cleat, really responsive on the release. But as far as the turning, the left and the rights, a little sluggish, but it still did its job. One thing that I will say that what I would do is modify this little cleat for your rudder line, because I think it would be better suited in the other position to where you're not trying to stow it in the down. So I think that clip should be turned around and flipped the other way so that you got that line caught underneath the actual rudder clip. Okay, see guys, you can see right here that I'm in the high position, the highest level, and let me tell you, boy, it is high. Okay, it is comfortable, but I can tell you the higher you go, you obviously know a little bit more tippy that the boat is. But I didn't feel uncomfortable. Of course, I'm pretty experienced using kayaks. But I would recommend, if this is a boat that you're thinking about doing, I would definitely start off in the low position and work your way up. And you know, this is an ideal situation to be in an up position. You know, just scanning the water, you guys saw we were absolutely almost glass. So overall, seat pretty comfortable. Okay, moving kind of up to the front of the boat, man, you got a lot of different options here for, like, if you had a fish finder, you already have brass inserts to mount your fish finder. You've got inserts on the seat rails here. You've got, you know, rail positions on both sides. And yeah, so we talked about the actual the drive, the fin drive. You know, you've got your situation to where you're just going to remove it, just like the Hobie's Click and Go, and you got your drive, comes right out. It does draft pretty shallow in a full stroke position, but the flutter stroke worked perfectly. Okay, as I told you guys before, one of the biggest things, the improvements they made, is kind of beefing up the quality of the components, whether it be the chains or the bolts or the nuts. Everything's a little bit more heavy duty for more harsher conditions like we have here in the Laguna Madre. Right, this is the 5th saltiest water in the world, and man, it just causes havoc on everything. So I'm really glad that that Hoodoo made the step up in beefing up some of the components on here. Your hatch, center hatch, super easy to get into, and as you guys can see, bone dry. You do have a scupper here, which that's kind of cool. Have your scupper here. Of course, I never removed it, but you know, if you open it, it'll allow water into that. Kind of go from there. Okay, I did operate the boat with scuppers in. Didn't get a lot of water infiltrating the cockpit here. Stayed pretty dry, and yeah, I thought it was cool. You've got your paddle stays on the side, pretty easy, pretty well placed as far as where you're seating to actually stow the rudder. I will say that on the other side, on the up position, this is kind of a reach for me. I've got shorter arms. I am 5'11", 230 pounds. But this was kind of a reach sitting in the up position to kind of reach down and actually operate the rudder. In the lower position, no problem. But when you get higher, it gets a little bit of a reach to reach the actual lever for the rudder. Okay. Overall, guys, man, solid boat. It paddled well. It pedaled well. It is a little tippy on the up position. This boat is designed to carry a little bit more weight. So, you know, if you are a heavier person, this is a good boat. But I will say this: you want to start in the low position before you kind of migrate up into the up. And on glassy conditions like this, no issues. But I did feel a little rock in that thing. I never rolled the boat, never felt in jeopardy of rolling the boat. It got a little squirrely when I was turning around to reach for my rods, but you know, overall, man, solid boat. Okay, so just some kind of other creatures of comfort that a lot of people ask for. Well, what does bottom look like, and what does everything else look like? Well, let's take a look. I'm going to remove the H crate here, the hatch. All right, the hull itself, guys, like I said, I thought it paddled well. Really good overall paddling vessel. You've got your transducer plate right here, so if you wanted to add your transducer, that's a pretty cool place where it's kind of protected, inserted inside. Overall, pretty good design. Long, sturdy boat. I didn't feel any flex in the hull, and I thought it was just it's overall pretty good hull. Okay. All right, guys. So now that you guys have done a rundown, let's do a little gear talk, guys, and we'll talk about you know, what do we use to have a successful day on the water, guys? So first and foremost, the lure of choice today was the Z-Man 5-inch paddle tail with the 3/16 ounce trout eye jig head. Now a lot of people say, man, that shank is a little too short for that 5-inch lure, but I tend to like that. I tend to find that I get less hang-ups with in the weeds with a shorter shank, and you know, they're called eye strike for a reason, because the fish really go after the eye. So for me, this was a big win, and you guys saw on today's performance, man, that this lure really did it. Houdini's always my color of choice. It's a real natural presentation, especially in clear water, and it's pre-scented with ProCure. So I think these are great lures for all types of water conditions, for all types of fishing. So the Z-Man paddler, Houdini color, trout eye jig head 3/16 with golden eye, guys. Really, really cool, solid combination. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit about storage. So for me, guys, I never go anywhere without my H crate. This thing provides some ample storage for everything that you need. Plus, it's got a nice durable lid on top. I mean, I've had this lid on here for probably 3 years, and you guys could see that it works well. You know, obviously, if you wanted to use, you know, the lockdown ties for the H crate for your reels, you know, if you guys are in some sketchy situations, you want to lock them down, you can always do that with these clips here. Can't see it on the other side, but you guys get the point here, and lock your reel down, so if you do capsize, you don't lose all your gear. Inside my H crate, guys, one of the bags that I really love is this waterproof Mustad bag. Guys, obviously it's a little bit disheveled right now, but plenty of storage for all of your bags of lures, and you've got, you know, another zipper pocket here for all of your terminal tackles. So I think that this is a really, really cool bag. It's waterproof and kind of can go anywhere with you. The other cool thing is you've got some straps for the seat, so if you want to strap this directly to your seat, you can do that. So the Mustad gear bag is fantastic, guys. Okay, obviously, guys, as it relates to clothing, for me, the hoodie is extra critical. Okay, sometimes I have a problem with a buff because it's too hot, and so you kind of get claustrophobic, or your glasses will fog up. So getting a nice hoodie with a lot of clearance here on the sides to have that nice side protection is critical. Okay, so when you're out there and you're looking for a hoodie, the first thing you want to do is, how big is the hoodie? Because there are some hoodies out there from different manufacturers that are real tight on the face, and for me, doesn't really do much for side protection. Okay, this is the hoodie from SeaTech, guys, and this is the actual sailfish pattern. I like it. I know there's no sailfish out here in the bay, but I really like the color patterns on them. They have a lot of cool color options, guys. So if you're interested in a quality hoodie, I would definitely recommend SeaTech, and we have them right here at the shop. The other thing that I already talked about was the Astral shoes. Guys, these are some fantastic water shoes. They've got ample drainage out in the front. Other water shoes, there's problems with sand and shale getting in from the bottom through their drainage, where these guys did a unique job of putting drainage on the sides of the sole, so you don't get a lot of that problem. Plus, they're extremely durable. Right now, we're in a little bed of oysters, and you know, I'm not even worried about them. Okay, and then finally, guys, you always got to have safety. This is the PFD by Hobie, the inflatable. This will not auto inflate, so just a little thing there. I want to tell you guys that if you do fall over or fall in the water, this isn't going to automatically blow up on you. I like that. It's a little bit of a safety risk, but at the end of the day, you'll save some gear from it blowing up on you prematurely if you don't need it to blow up and you have to recharge it and that kind of thing. I also like the length. You guys can see that this is way up here on the chest. The length is great because you don't get any rubbage or rubbing from, you know, pedaling on your legs. So I thought that's cool. And it's got a big old pocket here, so it actually fits, you know, an iPhone 11 or, you know, any size of iPhone in this particular pocket. So this is the inflatable PFD from Hobie. So guys, that's Gear Talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you guys on the water. Tight lines.